What's up, guys? Cutting edge window tinting again here with another install video for you guys. Today we're going to actually change it up from window tinting, and we're going to be installing some Lux light wrap film. This is actually the dark smoke that we're going to be doing on this Dodge. Usually a lot of people, what we do is we just do these inserts on the reverse light and then that bottom light. This one we're actually going to be doing the whole light. Same for this whole center piece right here. We're going to be doing that bad boy also as well. But right now what we're going to be doing is this one we already taped off the paint on here, so then that way you know, we just diminish the possibilities of any type of scratching or anything like that. And we see this has a little bit of a divot in there. We already cleaned it up. I'll go ahead and actually show you again. Clean it with, I have a half alcohol, half water spray. Give it one last prep. And then we wrap. Actually, I like, even for doing light wraps, I like to use a little gator blade. I don't know why, I've just adapted it to pretty much anything. It works pretty well with everything. Go around the edges, make sure we got, again, I already cleaned it before the video anyways. Just giving it another light go. So we measured our light, cut the film. What you want to try to do with this kind of stuff is actually not get a huge piece of a film, because then the more you have to fight all over the place, the harder time you have actually installing this. More isn't really better for these types of installs. It's sort of like wrapping a car. If you got any of you guys have ever wrapped a car, you know, you sort of lay your vinyl down and then you just cut out all the excesses that you don't have. So what we're gonna do here is come on one end, tack it down. So this one right here, you know, you always make sure you pull evenly, not one side or the other. Tack down our other ends as well. So I approach this sort of, again, like wrapping a car. We have this excess right there in the middle. So what we try to do is relax that film in the middle, so we can basically get it down into those crevices as well. So what you do is basically add some heat on it, and you'll see all these wrinkles start to relax, which is called glass in the wrapping industry. So now basically you're ready to go. You don't want to just go ahead and shove your finger in there right away, because then you'll definitely you know, it'll grab and you'll cause all types of weird shit. So sorry, weird stuff. So now that it's, you know, a little bit cooled down, now is when, like, to come in there, then we work the film in with our finger using the wrap glove. So see, there we go, working that in. Sorry, where'd you guys go there? You guys fell. There we go, hold on, coming back. There you guys go. Making sure you figure out a way that you're pushing that air so you don't get any air stuck in there, because if you start coming in here or right here, then you're gonna get an air pocket right there. So always figure out where you're going first. So going there, then down the middle. Again, going here, down the middle. Going here, down the middle. So as you're working with it, you'll figure out what feels good and what doesn't. Sometimes you might feel that you're stretching it a little bit too much. I mean, so just give it some slack up at the top. Same thing down here. A little more up there. Sometimes you'll get a little crease on there. Unlike window tint, actually this one you actually heat it and you get rid of that crease. Just give it a little bit of light heat. That crease will go away. So now we got that whole center laid down. All right, so now we still got all this stuff down at the bottom. Again, not a problem. We got to do, again, unlike window tint, stuff's a lot easier to work with as far as being able to work out the little bits of imperfections. So since we already did into this crevice, so now we're going to start pushing out from inside out. I like using my gloves, my hands a lot. You can also use a flat squeegee, but make sure it's a pliable one that can pretty much conform to what you're doing. So from the inside out, always remember, because we're trying to push air out of here. So if you just start going crazy willy-nilly, all just squeegeeing all over the place, you're like, oh, okay, now I'll squeegee here, oh, now I'll squeegee here. Then you're gonna have air pockets. I don't care if it's air release, you start locking some pockets in there, it's gonna be kind of hard to get those out. So we got these little fingers right here, fingers. Again, pull it up a little bit, relax the film, with a little bit of heat. Come in here, lay this bad boy down. You can work those out. All right, so again, we got some fingers going down. Again, you see that we got that crease right there? It's okay, we can fix that. So here we go, here's an example. Now we're sitting here fighting this extra stuff right here. So just cut it off, just enough where it's not in the way, but you have also enough to pull on if you need to pull that stuff back. So now we're gonna go down here, get our fingers in there, pull this off a little bit, pull this off a little bit, and now we add some heat, boom. So now we stretch that out a bit, we come down, still got a little bit of crease there, add some heat. And now we come down straight, tack it down to the bottom, so that way we got a nice stretch that we're going to work with to lay down the rest of our film on there. So now you come straight down, boom, 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 boom. Again, remember, this stuff is, don't be scared. You can definitely handle it pretty roughly. And if you cause any type of weird creases, you can usually add some heat and get them out pretty easily. So then, around the edges, take the edge of your squeegee, add a little bit of heat to make it a little bit pliable, so you can get that edge started to get tucked in there. And again, don't go shoving your squeegee in there or riding that curb right away after you add the heat, because it'll catch and you'll have to start all over. So make sure you add some heat, and then you go over it, and then you let it cool a little bit, then you go over it with your squeegee. So now after we've done that, we're pretty much good to go. Take out our knife. On this one we use a 30-degree blade. Always making sure you use a fresh blade. Snap our blade off. Boom. So now what we do here is we're going to go ahead and cut. So make sure you don't ride the side of the light. Basically how we're going to angle this is because we still want a little bit of material that's going to be enough to tuck in behind that light. So we got to try to go in the middle or more towards the side of the paint, which is why we tape this off, to protect that paint. And add a little bit of a, I don't even know what this angle is, like an upwards angle. So then that way while we're cutting, we're actually still leaving a lot more material on the side of the light, so then that way you can tuck in. So here we go, what we're doing here. And all you gotta do is you gotta just put the very tip of your knife in there, you know, you don't need to shove it all in there. And because honestly, if you put the whole thing in there, you get less of a consistent cut. That's where you start getting, I feel like those, you know, those jaggedy cuts. So, you know, just usually just, you know, again, and always making sure you're not putting a ton of pressure on it, just in case you do hit anything that can potentially scratch. But just keep a steady hand all the way around. Now take that off, the excess off. So now the way this works usually is you start adding some heat, it just naturally starts to curl. Sometimes it wants to curl forwards or backwards, but again, same thing, add some heat. Then you take your squeegee and you basically push in. So the thing is with these, again, you want to push just straight in, straight in, straight in. Your first pass. You want to go ahead again, and then right here, you know, some parts where it hits the body line, it gets a little bit tighter, but always try to push straight in. On your first pass, sometimes you get a little bit excited and you try to just shove it in and then try to ride it all the way to the edge. That doesn't ideally work because it'll get stuck on a piece of material, and again, it'll get caught, and you're gonna have to replace the whole thing because it'll get caught, and then you're gonna regret it because it's gonna bring the whole piece back with it. So now we did, and here's a little divot that's actually part of the light. Straight in, straight in. And we do that. Now afterwards you can ride it because now all your material is laid down behind there, so if you did it well, it's not going to catch on anything. So we can actually go in there, go all the way around, and lay it down well where it's not going to peel up again. So now we got to go to the end. So on these, what I like to do is I like to pull out and straight back so it wraps that corner. I don't know if you see that right there. So basically it's out and straight back, and it wraps that corner right there. Again, we're gonna give it a little bit of heat right now, so then that way we can, well, actually you don't even have to. Because we gotta always remember to post heat. So pull, same thing here, pull, so we get that nice edge right there. Pull. So I'm trying to do this with one hand, so obviously we're gonna have to go over it in a little bit with both hands. Same thing right there. So I'm gonna do again. So right here, again, pull that way and then back. So it pretty much just tacks itself down right on that corner, so you get a nice clean corner. Pull with your other finger, go down that way, pull that way, pull that way, pull that way, pull that way. So now if you see, we got a nice clean edge all the way around there. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and trim that up. Show you guys here. Again, we're gonna take our knife and go down the edge of that one and trim it. I'll try to get you guys as close as possible here. So we're gonna go ahead and trim that up right there. And then obviously right now I'll bring you guys in. So again, since we always try to use the very tip of the knife, always snap off a new blade. So then now now as we're going down here, we have that nice edge where we know where we're gonna guide our knife. So it gives us a nice, almost a factory looking edge because you're right at the edge. So we go that way, that way, that way, straight down, straight down.